Hi everybody, Doug here, the Broke Barista, and I decided to start this video series because I was on the road back in January. Before that I was at a homeless center last summer for veterans, and I love my brothers in the Army, but if you drink the coffee they make, you will learn how to make coffee. So what we have here is we have 3 grinds from the IZpresso JMax. And I just got this in today, so this isn't an in-depth review or anything. I am a fanboy. This is very biased. Just showing you what it is, and I would encourage you to look at some good reviews on this grinder. Aramse has a very favorable review, and even some people that didn't really take the time to get to know this grinder. One fellow that's pretty well regarded, you might come across his review, said that this thing was going to be a pain because you had to turn the dial so many times to get back to 0, and that's not true. Long story short, this grinder adjusts with this numerical dial here. There's a little tiny thing here. See if you can get in right there below where my finger is and see those white dots there? There we go. Now those are an index, so you can just whip back and forth between these different grinds. And I'm going to make 3 coffees here right now. I've got an espresso grind, and we're going to make a regular AeroPress shot. The inventor of the AeroPress, Alan Alder, used to recommend a pour-over grind, but now of late he's been recommending an espresso grind. If you keep it to 35 grams and 3 shots, I happen to agree with him. It works very well. Now this is a coarse pour-over grind right here, and what we have here is we have my AeroPress pour-over method. This is my own method. You can use it, make fun of it, whatever. And then finally we have this really coarse, like boulder-like coffee here. And this is the way I like to make coffee in this little Vietnamese filter. This is also very new to me. I'm far too expert from this. This came in today, and I kind of like it. So let's start with that fin. And these are all about 15 grams. We just use the AeroPress scoop. I'm going to give that a little press there. And let's see, our water temperature is about right here. They say you press this down and give it just a dollop of water on that top of the filter. You kind of want to let those grounds develop and bloom. Now normally this would be done with a very dark roast, a Robusto, which is very tasty in my estimation, and chicory. And I've tried that like this with a Cafe Du Monde coffee from the Cafe Du Monde stand in New Orleans, established 1865. The coffee tastes like they might have roasted it in 1865, but it is a pretty tasty concoction. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this thing with water at this point and put the little lid on. Man, my glasses are getting steamed up here. We're just going to kind of let that do its thing there. Now this is my little filter system I've set up, and this is a coarse grind pour over. This is a number 4 cone inside the good old AeroPress funnel. We're going to use an AeroPress filter cap on top of that, and my little Deja brew cup. Get it? 94 cents at Walmart. And I like to fill this cup up, use it for a press weight, and there we go. We're just going to let that sit there for a minute. And now that leaves us with our little AeroPress here. Woo! I'm making this hard for my cameraman. Sorry about that, baby. Let's just go ahead and do a little standard shot in the AeroPress here. I don't think we can kill this by now. Now this is about, give or take 15, 16 grams. Again, I didn't weigh these. I do have a scale. I'm not obsessed like that. I like to, my saying is measure you should, feel, taste, smell, look, and touch you must. I roast these beans myself. I grind them myself. And I like to play with my coffee. I like to have a good time with it. And we're doing okay on water temperature. That's a lighter-ish roast. Yeah, it's a little warm yet. We'll slosh this around here. Now the AeroPress really gives you a sweet cup of coffee. This pour over here, I'm going to do this shot first. Go ahead and let that start doing its thing there. Now we're going to stir this up. And these are some pretty nice beans. I'm not much of a roaster yet. I'm just learning. They're from Nicaragua. We've got two varieties here, Paraíba and Javanica, an heirloom that only grows in Nicaragua. And they're both pretty interesting. Now we're going to do the slow press here. We are using the metal AeroPress filter. And by the way, you don't have to use that one inverted, as you can see here. And when you feel resistance, you're just going to stop. About 15 pounds of pressure is all you need. According to the inventor of the AeroPress, if you press too hard, you're just going to compress the coffee against the filter and create a wall. Nothing's going to go through, and you're just going to get bitter. Now, when it stalls like this, that means you're right at getting the last of the water through the puck, as it were. And this is what I wanted to show you with the AeroPress here. You see how fine the grind is here. And I was using a Time More C2 grinder, very good grinder, highly recommended by all the cool kids. But here's the thing, if we look at this puck here on this AeroPress, you look at how incredibly uniform it is. Now my C2 grinder wasn't exactly cheap. It is a very affordable hand grinder. It's great for pour over, most AeroPress and everything, but when you ground for espresso for the AeroPress, you could do it, but you'd have a visible row of boulders, big chunks of coffee right on top. And with this grinder, the IZpresso JMax, I'm not seeing that. I'm getting a really consistent puck, and I'm very excited to learn how to pull espresso with the manual machine. Now, let's take a look at our little cafe fin here. This is the extra small size. This, I believe, is the 4-ounce filter. I ordered the 6-ounce filter, but we're in East Tennessee. There's a distribution somewhere in North Carolina that feeds into Bristol, and damn. I mean, I'm lucky they sent me the right thing, even if it was the wrong size. The first time I bought coffee from these people, they sent me 100 feet of white Cat 6 coax cable, which isn't even used. So this coffee here, coarsely ground. It's a very interesting filter cup. It's a nice strong coffee, but because the roast we're using, it's not real bitter. The cafe fin isn't something you usually use specialty coffee in, but this is just to show you that this grinder can put out a rough grind and make a pretty good cup of coffee. Now, the pour over method here, I found this to work pretty good to give you just a nice mild cup of coffee. And that little 94-cent Walmart espresso cup on top there with the clever deja brew thing, it kind of acts like a press in a cafe fin or a South Indian filter. And I just like making coffee this way. I got bored one day and was thinking, well, what else can I do with my AeroPress? So this is a good little shot of coffee here, and I need this because I'm falling out right now. You can see with that nice coarse grind, we got pretty clean. And then we have our AeroPress shot. Look at how rich that baby is. I mean, you can't really call it espresso, but damn. And if we put a little bit of water in this, look at how beautiful that is. And that is a nice medium roast, light roast, medium is lightest roast Americano. And that is delicious. Now this AeroPress cup comes in handy because we can just set our homework here. Ooh, that was hot, by the way, but still very delicious. And let's try our filter coffee. That coarse pour over. This is a very nice, mild cup of coffee. Now, when I went on Google and I looked up the area of Nicaragua where this coffee is grown, I was trying to figure out how they drink their coffee. And my Google foo is just not adequate for the venture capitalist market out there. All I could find was beans for sale in Nicaragua and a blurb somewhere about how they often drink weak, watered down coffee in Nicaragua and they prefer to sip on it all day. So they're Americans just like us. They're just from South America. And I like their beans. But the IZpresso JMax grinder, was kind of the point of this rant, is $200. That's a lot of money for a guy like me. A disabled veteran on a fixed income. Wasn't that long ago I was homeless, hence the handle barista. And why would I spend $200 on a grinder? Well, we started with just mocha pots and the AeroPress. And my coffee journey started with a $6 Imusa that was left on a shelf. It was sold, it was actually made in Chile at Shoppers Value in Luray, Virginia, and a bag of great value espresso. So I bought into the coffee game, learning about coffee for less than $10. And with that little Chilean mocha pot, I learned to make Americanos, coffee shots, lattes, everything. It was just wonderful. I call it the Swiss Army knife of coffee makers. What I didn't understand was that because the water was coming up to the grounds in about a minute, that's why I was making better coffee. Sure, it was strong, concentrated. Some people couldn't drink it. You dump water in it, like we did with our AeroPress shot. Perfectly acceptable to any American palate. So then I got an AeroPress. And of course, I made all the mistakes everybody makes when you get an AeroPress. I was using water that was way too hot. I was running too much water through it. I was pressing on it as hard as I could, putting all of my 250 pounds up, down almost 30 pounds since then. And it was still better than most coffee, but once I learned how to use the AeroPress, I actually watched a few videos of the inventor and listened to what he had to say and checked out the science of what he was saying. The AeroPress makes incredible coffee. And this one here is the Go, and there's the cup for it right there. And this is the original AeroPress, my OG and the funnel and everything. And I love both of them. I can't live without either one of them. And I thought that was kind of going to be where my coffee journey was. I had a percolator. I knew how to use that. I have a Bright. I've got the Vietnamese filter. I might get an Indian filter. Probably going to get a siphon pot, either Japanese or a Belgian balance pot at some point. I just like different ways to make coffee. But now immediately I'm looking at getting an espresso machine, specifically a flare lever machine is the cheapest way to pull a shot of espresso and one of the best ways you can pull a shot of espresso if you're about your business. So that's why I got this grinder. And even if I wasn't going to get an espresso machine, I'm looking at this puck from the AeroPress, and this is so much cleaner and so much more uniform than the pucks I was getting with my C2, and that C2 was making some kick-ass coffee. The young lady holding this camera right now will make me wear a coffee if I hand her a coffee from any specialty shop in the Tri-City area, because this coffee is really good. And she felt that way when I was using the C2 grinder. I'm afraid that once she has coffee from this grinder, my expectations are going to be raised. It really is that good. So if you wanted to get into coffee and to drinking better coffee, the first thing you have to do is get a better brewing method. I don't want to buy anything. I can't. Okay, clean the coffee pot that you have. Learn how to use it. Watch some videos by some people. And brew the best coffee you can. See if you can buy smaller bags if that works for you. So when you open a bag, by the time you use it, it's not totally stale. We all do the same thing. We go to the store, we're low on money, we buy the biggest thing of coffee we can because we're saving money. And then we end up going out and buying coffee at 7-Eleven when we got $3 extra in our pocket because the 7-Eleven coffee made by a person with possibly substance and or emotional issues in an abusive relationship with a 7-Eleven franchise owner that may or may not be from this neck of the woods. I just don't think they're going to make as good a coffee as you can make at home. I really don't. You can make better coffee for yourself, and that's my mission in life, and that's the purpose of the barista, to tell people, hey, you can make good coffee. If you're going to put money into anything, put it into a grinder. If you want to brew better coffee, AeroPress Go, $40. Regular AeroPress, $40. Get both of them in the tote bag, $85. Can fit almost any budget. You'll be okay. If you can afford to buy just a cheap grinder, a Krups grinder from Walmart, $30, blade grinder. It's not going to give you really good coffee, but now you're getting coffee beans and you're grinding them right before you brew it. Your coffee's going to get better again. Now, what if you get specialty coffee or direct trade, fair trade, organic, sustainable? Yeah, you can buy a big old bag of Lavazza on Amazon. They're like the Folgers of Italy. Probably hardcore gangsters. And it's certified to be organic and earth-friendly and fair trade and all that. You can buy direct from an estate. Primos is the low-hanging fruit. Primos coffee out of Nicaragua, Jinotega province. They are legitimately located there, but it's like a huge conglomerate of farms. They have beans and stashes all over the U.S. and Canada where you can get them by Prime in one day. So that's a big-ass farm. Then there are specialty roasters like Lem Butler, the 2016 U.S. barista champion in the World Finals. And he and another champion from 2014 or 2018, they have a coffee roaster they call Black and White Roasters. They're about $20 a pound. They get you beans from anywhere, exquisitely roasted. They tell you what day they roasted. It'll get you in peak condition, some of the best coffee you can get, no doubt. Or you can do what I do. You can buy the green beans and roast them yourself, which is probably the lowest barrier. So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at ways to break down barriers to getting into specialty coffee, how to drink better coffee with the stuff you have now, and pieces of gear that might really enhance your experience. So I really like this IZpresso JMax. I think it was a very good deal for the money I spent on it. The coffee around here is coming way up. And if you're going to get serious about coffee and you're going to buy anything to get better coffee, start with the grinder. It doesn't matter if you're buying beans or roasting beans, a good grinder makes a better cup of coffee. And this was something it took me 6 months to learn. So if you can find a better grinder than this for your needs, buy it. There's a bunch of different grinders out there. This isn't the only one. This is just one that works really well. And enjoy your coffee journey. Until next time, my friends, drink well.